Hey there, Virgo rising signs of the zodiac. It's Cosmic Girl delivering your horoscope for the month of September 2025. Thanks for being here, and I trust you're doing well. We've got a lot going on in the month of September, astrologically speaking, with the planets in transits. And we also have eclipses. So we've got 2 eclipses in the month, and Equinox season begins. So it's quite jam packed. And I'm going to be talking about these transits in a chronological order for the month and what it all means for you as a Virgo rising sign. As tradition here on the Cosmic Girl 101 YouTube channel, I open up the horoscopes discussing the rising signs chart rulers transit, and then we head on into the astrology for the month. So your chart ruler Mercury has been transiting in Leo with Venus and quickly transitions in the month of September on the 2nd into your natal first house until the 18th of the month. And then your chart ruler Mercury shifts into Libra, your natal second house, moving on into the month of October. So your chart ruler Mercury is at top speed in the solar system, and that's why there's lots of shifts for Mercury. And as above, so below, with Mercury moving so fast within our own personal experiences and outside of us and here on terra firma indicates that mercurial themes and topics are really fast and in the forefront, such as travel, communication, commerce, finance, and intel and communication. Lots and lots and lots going on for all of us. And Mercury happens to be your chart ruler. So this is a pretty big deal astrologically for you in the month of September. You also have the sun in your first house. That's good. The sun gives you lots of vitality and energy, maybe a lot of attention as well. Could be really taking ownership over your intentions regarding new beginnings, your life direction, your body and your health, with the sun in the first house until the 22nd. And Mercury quickly joins the sun as well on the 2nd, at least until the 18th. So your natal first house is quite active because on the 19th, Venus will also move into the natal first house. So there's a lot of focus on what's going on with Virgo rising signs. And that means you trying to navigate your life to your best ability, meaning intentional beginnings, new starts, and really tuning into your identity. Who are you? What do you want? What do you want your next year to look like? It's that kind of astrology for the Virgo rising signs. So, yeah, lots of hypothesizing, travel, financial aspects of your life are going to be highlighted as well. And lots of intel communication, maybe a lot of paperwork and information that needs a lot of processing or more time. Think of contracts and agreements, anything to do with legal aspects, maybe a highlight for you in the month of September as well, and moving forward into October. So there's lots of astrology in particular with the planets in transits in the month of September that are going to be quite significant for you as a Virgo rising sign, with so many planets transiting in your natal first house. So it's action go time. I'd be surprised if any Virgo rising signs have the time to even listen to astrology, to be frank. But alas, I am here, and we are going to get into the meat and bones of the planets in transits, where these planets are transiting in your own natal chart as a Virgo rising sign, what all the aspects and eclipses and the equinox indicates for you through the lens of astrology. Let's jump into it. Virgo rising signs. Okay, so Mars continues its transit in Libra in your natal second house. So there's lots going on here in that natal second house. So Mars is action, passion and aggression. So there could be some conflict or nuances that really need to be ironed out with finesse with Mars in Libra in your natal second house of finance. Your assets, possessions, skills, and resources are all up for review, trying to get some balance and harmony here until the 22nd of September. So Mars ingressed into Libra, your natal second house of finance and your valuables on the 25th of August. And Mars doesn't really function that well in Libra. So your natal second house of things that you value and your valuables and ultimately your money, your livelihood, and things that you tangibly possess can be a little testing for you until the 22nd of September. But the focus of Mars, what Mars is trying to do ultimately, he's aggressive, he's about conflict, he's about action. Mars is trying to help, if you will, the Virgo rising signs with its transit in Libra in your natal second house, trying to help you cull and finally lay disputes and discrepancies at rest. And that takes finesse. It might take a little bit of delegating and clear communication of what you feel is right and just, and hearing out the other or the other person's perspective or point of view. So it can be quite challenging, this transit with aggressive Mars in the natal second house of Libra until the 22nd of September. After that point, Mars goes into its sign of domicile, Scorpio, where Mars is in a better position to do martial things, which is take action and move forward. But until the 22nd, you may feel like you're in a bit of a holding pattern or people pleasing or feel a little bit codependent. And that may have you, maybe as a Virgo rising sign, feeling a little put back because you have to learn to play nice in the sandbox with others kind of transit. But you can handle it, but it's not particularly easy because Mars is in detriment and Mars just wants to be individual and do its own thing. And it's in Venus, the sign of rulership. And Venus is about peace and unity, and Mars is about separation and conflict. So you can hear the difference of Mars being in Venus' sign of rulership, where Venus loves bringing people together, loves unity, loves relationships, where Mars in Venus' sign of rulership, Libra, loves to create conflict and loves to be aggressive. And that can be nuanced, especially in your house of finance, your livelihood, resources, and things of like your tangibles and things that you love and value. So, yeah, pretty tricky with Mars transiting in your natal third house until the 22nd. But things improve because Mars will move on into Scorpio where Mars functions better. So, Mars is the ruler of your natal third house of Scorpio and also the ruler of your natal eighth house of Aries. And that natal eighth house is other people's resources that impact you, influence you, or that you're entangled with, and things such as death and inheritance. So Mars being the ruler also of that eighth house and the third house with this transit in the second house can be just a lot of responsibility, maybe over other people's resources. Death and inheritance topics and subjects can really be quite, a bit tender with this transit. So it improves on the 22nd of September if you're finding it difficult to maneuver around those tender topics, such as the realities of other people's finances that maybe going through a bit of a tough time, or you feeling the weight of responsibility of handling other people's finances, such as death and inheritance, like life policy procedures, wills, and trying to end codependent behavior or separate yourself from contracts and agreements. Yeah, it could be a lot going on there with Mars in that natal second house of Libra until the 22nd of September, but gets better after that date. From the 1st to the 30th of the month and moving forward, we have our modern planets Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune retrograding, but all connecting in sextiles and trining one another. That's good news because these outer modern planets, which are generational planets, are all in harmony and flow. Officially on the 6th of September, Uranus goes into a retrograde. Now, with outer generational modern planets being in flow with sextiles and trines, it's easy for us to engage and process the shifts that are happening within us and in the whole collective, all us mere plebs here on terra firma. We know that there's big transitions. We know that a new future is coming. And we're all in this cosmic soup together. And the outer generational planets are going, let's make it easy. Let's make it easy. Sextiles and trines to get everyone on board the future train in a very slow process. These modern planets transit through zodiac signs over very long periods of time. Pluto's in Aquarius for over 20 years. Uranus is in Gemini for 7. Neptune is in Aries for like 14, 15 years. So they take their sweet time being outer modern generational planets for us here on terra firma to get with the new program. And that's good. That's positive. Officially on the 6th of September, Uranus goes into a retrograde. So moving forward from September into the following months, we all get a taste of, there's a new dawn happening. There's big changes. Technology, science, our neighbors, our physical bodies, the past is really coming home to roost to propel us into a new trajectory. No matter what is going on in our own personal experiences, time is our reality, and time always keeps going forward and evolving and changing. And we happily go with it or we turn our nose up at it. But either way, we're all active participants engaged in this thing called life together. We're all in this cosmic soup together here on our beautiful blue planet. And these outer generational planets, these slow modern planets, are giving us time to recalibrate, readjust, reset, and come to terms with the realities that we're all going in a different direction. And let's just swallow it with our best ability that we are in accelerated, changeable, challenging, bittersweet, yet exciting changes that are going to shape our destinies and our future. So I like that, astrologically speaking, because these modern planets are sextiling and trining one another. So for the Virgo rising signs, this is a coming to peace, if you will, with knowing. There's new shifts and changes with your natal 10th house where Uranus is retrograding on the 6th of September. Oh my goodness, stutter. And Uranus is only moved into your natal 10th house at 1 degree. And Uranus hasn't been in Gemini for over 84 years. Uranus ingressed into Gemini around the 6th, 7th of July. So it hasn't really been in your natal 10th house for very long, which is your career, your public name, your public identity. It's the house of achievement, authority. It's your professional industry, your career house. It's our ambitions. That's a natal 10,000. It's ultimately like, this is what we really want. And it's Gemini. So Virgo rising signs want variety, diversity, options, clear open spaces to engage with their own free will, be outside thinkers, educate, teach, research, learn, incorporate your ideas with others and partner up and team up with people that are on the same page and are on the same intellectual wavelength. That's Gemini. And so that's your natal 10th house. You're seeking your achievement in this incarnation as a Gemini rising sign. What you want to really have authority over is freedom and movement and intellectual stimulation in anything that you do in a professional capacity. So really interesting for Virgo rising signs. What you really want to achieve is freedom to explore and travel and knock shoulders with different people, places and bases, and have lots of spice and variety that keeps you focused and in an industry that can um, embrace your diverse, out of the box thinking, your mercurial ruled zodiac sign as a Virgo rising sign, but it will factor into where your own natal Mercury is in your own natal chart on primarily what you really want to get your teeth and intellectual faculties engaged into when it comes to your ambitions and your worldly achievements. Interesting. So Uranus on the 6th of September goes into a retrograde in your natal 10th house of Gemini. And in November, we'll retrograde back into the natal 9th house for one last round. And then we'll come back into the natal 10th house I think it's the 25th of April next year, 2026. So Gemini, Uranus has given you a taste of, you can have freedom, you can have liberation, you can be your quirky self, you can really have all that you want. Your ambitions can actually come to pass. But we need to disrupt what has always been in that natal 10th house. And you're the expert in you as a Virgo rising sign. Only you know these answers. What needs to be eliminated, for better words, that keeps you split or separate from your ideal trajectory in a professional capacity. Interesting. And Uranus, only moved in there 1 degrees, going back into the natal 9th house. But until November, before he retrogrades back into the 9th house of Taurus for one last round where Uranus spent 7 years, then there's a lot of potential for the Virgo rising signs to, from November at least until April 25 next year, to explore the world at large. Maybe go back to school and get more academic feathers in your cap, travel, do the traveling that you want to do, knock shoulders with different cultures, people, places, and faces to engage with and sort of uh, incorporate different philosophies about life and cultures that serve your professional ambitions. This is like going out and researching and trying to develop a strategy, if you will, on how what's going on culturally in the world, or at least politically, natal 9th house, that you can almost extract intel that helps your career or gives you enough information to know, I know exactly what I need to do now and where my heart's desire is regarding my career, because you're experiencing a last go around with Uranus in the natal 9th house, and possibly excuse me, solidifying international connections, or maybe an expat or a travel plan, or something to do with things that are at a far distance from you, sort of setting a stage, like an international connection, or again, an expat, or a relationship that can team up with you regarding your career or professional industry, your public name and identity. Like this could be for some Virgo rising signs, getting their partner from overseas to come live with them, or get a visa, or go live with them, or something like that, and to maybe relocate into a different part of the world. Could be up for grabs. So Uranus is a slow outer generational modern planet. We appreciate that, but it's still important because these modern planets, even though they slowly move through a zodiac sign, they're key protagonists playing out really significant storylines in our natal chart. So they deserve the respect by talking about them, because there could be some parts of our experience that are kicking goals and we're like, well, geez, this always seems to be in the background. Well, that's where you look to the outer generational planets, and especially your own natal chart. So interesting astrology for all of us, as above, so below. And so what else is in harmony and flow with this idea of what Virgo rising signs' ideal trajectory is professionally, what's their ambitions? And who's helping this happen is Pluto, because he's trining that natal 10th house. He's trining Uranus. So Pluto's in the natal 6th house, and this is work, service, like your sense of service you provide. You know, you just do because you're empowered to do it. And being Aquarius, maybe you're empowered to be an ambassador or an advocate for community, the underdogs, uh, get into science and futuristic technologies. So Pluto is trining Uranus. And so Pluto slowly, very slowly, churning up the Aquarian natal 6th house for you in a beneficial way with Uranus. So this is Pluto sort of turns the soil intellectually. It's Aquarius, it's an air sign, but it's a fixed air sign. So our ideas, our ideologies and concepts about our personal experiences and the community and the world and collective at large is going through a rebirth of sorts, Pluto. And with that, we have a change of mind, a redirection through knocking shoulders with different people, places, and faces, with work colleagues, and services that you are engaged with as well. Such things as labor and things that we do on a daily. You know, maybe you're a Virgo rising signs that is saying, I'm sick to death of working 5 days a week. I'm going to work 3. I don't have to work so hard. I can just now compartmentalize my time in an efficient, streamlined way, or I can get my scheduling right, which improves my daily habits, my health, my sense of service, what I'm committed to, what I believe in for the future. And it really is going to help my lofty dreams and goals for my career or my professional industry or my ambitions. So that's really nice. And we've got Pluto sextiling Neptune, which in turn, Neptune's also sextiling Uranus, but Neptune's in the 8th house. And Neptune's a very slow modern planet as well. And Neptune is in Aries. Neptune went into Aries the 30th of March this year. It's in natal 8th house. And that's other people's resources that support you. It's the house of inheritance, where you inherit anything. It could be a property, a car, it could be a behavior, it could be a mindset, but it is the house of inheritance and other people's resources, where we are impacted by other people's resources. We may control other people's resources as well. The natal 8th house. And it's a house of death, which is ultimately about transformation, shedding of skins, to release ourselves like a snake. We will need to shed skin. Sorry for knocking the microphone. Yeah. I mean, it's big astrology, it's big stuff, and Neptune's here. And Neptune is about our dreams, our creativity, our fantasy, where we want to turn water into wine and we want to get creative. But Neptune can be deceptive. But without dreams and fantasies, how on earth do we actualize something tangible? Where do you think these great movies come from? Imagination. And then we put ourselves to work and we sketch something beautiful out of our minds into something tangible. That's Neptune. But Neptune can be a little, for better words, think of Neptune like a bit of smoke and mirrors. It all looks nice on the surface, but really it's a projection of an image. And it's in that natal eighth house of yours that we just talked about. So Neptune, Pluto and Uranus from September moving forward and into next year. The transformations coming about your future projection with your career, your public name and identity, ambition, authority, anything of an official capacity. The natal sixth house of work, service, health, labor, and shared finances, responsibility of your finances and responsibility with others' finances, death, and inheritance. And all these outer generational, modern, slow planets are tilling the soil, and it's not something that will be acutely felt on the daily, but only Virgo rising sign, that something big is happening here and moving into a new direction that brings in change over very long periods of time. Pluto, 20 years, Uranus, 7 years, Neptune, 14 to 15 years. So it's big stuff, and it's important to talk about it astrologically anyway, because if you're an astrology enthusiast, this is what's going on. So your 10th, 6th and 8th houses of your natal chart are going through big transitions, big changes. But they're sextiles and trines, so they're in flow. So there's an agreement here, which is what they ultimately are about, these aspects. These planets agree and they can play nice, but in very powerful, profound ways. So I do encourage you to look at your own natal chart, your own natal planets, because these outer modern planets might be activating natal planets in your chart, which is ultimately about the natal promise. Interesting stuff. So I appreciate that was a lot of information, but that's what we're here for. What's going on for the Virgo rising signs in the month of September? This is what's happening for you moving forward into the months ahead, where these modern planets really tilling the soil. But they're fire and air signs, so it is about inspiration and action and fluid movement with thought and communication. So really nice. Okay, so straight out of the gate on the 1st of September, Saturn goes into a retrograde in Pisces in your natal 7th house, in your relationships house. This is your one-on-one partnerships. It's a house of marriage. It's also the house of pleasure, where we just chill out at the end of the day. That's also the natal 7th house, where we've done our day's work. We can relax. We can go out to dinner. We can enjoy our relationships by hanging out together, having nice wine, nice experiences, jumping in the sack and having some sexy fun. Natal 7th house is connected to pleasure and closing down of the day. So it's also the house that is about significant endings. So it's very, very nuanced. All the natal houses really are. But Saturn from the 1st of September for 5.5 months is going back into that natal 7th house. So what's going on here with your one-on-ones, relationships, marriage, significant endings, contracts, agreements, negotiations. This is going to be a surprise because Saturn's been in your natal 7th house from 2023 to May 25, 2025. So 2 years. This isn't new stuff. Okay, so what's not new? The same old, same old. What's not new? Saturn things. Well, what's Saturn things? Saturn rules your 5th and your 6th house. So that's things that you create of your own free will, children, sex, intimacy, pregnancy, fertility. The natal 5th house is fun and pleasure. And then Saturn also rules the natal 6th house of Aquarius, where Pluto is for 20 years, currently retrograde. Health, work, services, and labour, things that you do on the daily routine, the daily round. Saturn rules those 2 houses, 5th and 6th house. And Saturn's going back in the 7th house for one last round for 5.5 months, taking the pressure off Aries, your natal 8th house, of other people's resources, responsibility over other people's resources, death and inheritance topics and subjects. So Saturn's taken the pressure off, and that means in Aries, which is start something new, be autonomous, be independent. And Saturn's going back into the 7th going, I need to consider the realities of partnering up long-term moving forward. Who am I partnering up with? And building something of lasting value that brings me joy and pleasure, fun, the natal 5th house, that I can do on a daily and whistle while I work and be quite content. So who is it that Virgo rising sign is seeking to, take their hand and skip through the future? That's the big questions that you're going through for 5.5 months. It's a big transit. And again, you're the expert in you, Anna. You know what's going on here. So what has been, for better words, in flux for 2 years? Not quite certain. Are you in, you're out regarding marriage, relationships, your significant one-on-ones? Are they in and out, in or out? It's crunch time now. And then Saturn will go back into the natal 8th house, which is Aries, on February 14, 2026 to April 12, 2028. So there's 5.5 months to figure it out. What brings you joy and pleasure on the daily? How does your body respond in kind? And what are you committing to, or what are you removing? What are you letting go? Because it's all too dense, it's all too heavy, it's all too old. Maybe you need to renew your vows. Maybe you need to take that ring back to Tiffany's because you've decided the juice isn't worth the squeeze for me. I'm not prepared. Doesn't bring me joy and pleasure. So big stuff. Quick side note, Saturn goes direct on the 27th of November at 25 degrees. That could be a big day of big yeses, anchoring in to a big commitment or distinguishing one. Yeah, interesting astrology for the Virgo rising signs. Good luck. Appreciate that's such a long opening and lots of astrology information to digest. But it's important astrology. So you're welcome. Okay, on the 2nd, now we see your chart ruler Mercury leave Leo, your natal 12th house, leaves Venus behind at least until the 19th. And ingresses into your natal 1st house, where your chart ruler Mercury is in domicile and exalted. In short, this is Mercury's kind of zodiac sign. Virgo, practical, the mentor, the teacher, the one that serves selflessly, the one that loves to instruct, the one that can practically, methodically, patiently develop a strong backbone that can be useful, that can produce a harvest. Mercury loves that. Mercury, the planet of intellect, communication, travel, commerce, finance, the planet that just loves information. The more, the better. So from the 2nd of the month to the 18th, because it's a very quick transit, Mercury zooming through the solar system. And what does Mercury bring to the Virgo rising's first house? Because this is where this transit's happening. In the first house, or Mercury brings you sovereignty, individuality, a sharp mind, dexterity, and all information that you need to make very practical, stable strides forward regarding anything to do with new beginnings, plans for your future self, your ideal physical body, getting back into the gym, going to the physician, going to the doctor, going and having that surgery, researching about how to improve your mind, body, spirit, and soul. Mercury blesses you. He's in the first house with ideas, thoughts to get you moving, start a new you, a new path forward. Very empowering transit for you. So Mercury's going to go, what money do I need to do this and start that? What finances do I have? Okay, maybe I need to get a second job. Maybe I need a new one. Where do I want to travel? Where do I want to go? Mercury goes, well, how about researching this place? Or why don't you stop thinking and actually start doing? Mercury brings it all to you very organically, where it's exalted and in domicile in its sign of Virgo in the natal first house, but brings you something of substance that you can work with, that can really build a harvest for yourself that makes you feel really quite self-sufficient, proud. You're proud of yourself kind of transit. You've got integrity behind you in your plans moving forward and laying out your plans moving forward and executing them very well, especially when it comes to travel, communication, things like logistics, weighing up the pros and cons, and your financial world. Really quite empowering from the 2nd to the 18th of September. Okay, on the 3rd, we've got Mars squaring Jupiter. Maybe your values don't match up with others kind of day. No big deal. You know what's good for you and doesn't matter what other people think. It's that kind of day. And your chart ruler Mercury is squaring off with Uranus in your 10th house. And Uranus is in a superior square to you. So Uranus, basically, in short, is really pushing down on your chart ruler Mercury in the first house. So you could be called to some sort of action or making a quick decision on the 3rd, or quick intel that makes you maybe think about redirecting or changing up some plans that you had moving forward. Interesting day on the 3rd. On the 7th, we have our first eclipse of the month, and it's a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces in your natal 7th house, which we talked about extensively. And we know that Saturn has also retrograded back into that natal 7th house. So it's a full moon, but it's an eclipse. So full moons are the achievement moment. We see something that we haven't seen. Something's been obscured from our view, but now we see it in a full moon phase. It's like light and bright. It's like, whoa, there it is. Whether it's a big emotion, a big achievement, a big conversation, whatever it is, you see it, you hear it, it's in your face, you can't ignore it. It's that kind of thing. That's the full moon. The full moon's like our satellite, our antenna, a transmitter of information. So on the 7th, we're getting some big intel, for better words, big information, big emotional reveals big moments of, oh my goodness, I can see it for what it is on the 7th of September. But it's an eclipse, and that's more potent and powerful. And that's what eclipses are. And we've got a powerful, oh my goodness, this is happening. This is real kind of moment. We feel it in our bones that this is big, especially in the natal 7th house of relationships, marriage, partnerships, our significant one-on-one connections, contracts, negotiations, agreements, the house of pleasure. Big moment on the 7th. Now, it is an eclipse, so it's an emotional, this is really happening, for better or worse. In your own personal experience, it'll be very subjective. Again, refer to your own natal chart and own natal placements of planets, please. So this is the aha moment that presents the peak, the ripening of a significant relationship in your life of any nature. You see it for what it is. This is it. And it's Pisces. It's emotional. It's nurturing. It's compassionate. And a lot of feelings going on here on the 7th. Very psychic and intuitive as well. Some Virgo rising signs going, I know that my partner's having an affair. Some Virgo rising signs say, I'm going down to my local jewelry store and I am going to get that ring and I'm going to propose. Some Virgo rising signs are going to go, I'm finally going to sign the divorce papers. Some Virgo rising signs are going to go, I'm booking that effing holiday. I'm sick of myself procrastinating and overthinking it. I'm going to go on a holiday. I'm going to enjoy my life. Anything goes. It's Pisces. It's wide. It's big. It's all about feelings and emotions. And Pisces is very creative. It's very kumbaya kind of zodiac sign. We're all in it together kind of thing. That's Pisces. Pisces is about surrendering to surrender that you're human. Pisces is very sacrificial, will sacrifice its own self for other. So this full moon lunar eclipse can be a coming to, for better words, Jesus moment. Whoa, have I become too codependent? Have I lost myself in relationship? Or am I surrendering to, my God, I love this person. I really want this holiday. I really want this contract. It just feels instinctually right. Yeah, okay, let's do it. That kind of eclipse. It's potent. And lunar eclipses are big stories and big chapters that are closing down. Fascinating astrology. Fascinating. A closing down of a chapter with your relationships house. Marriage, partners, significant one-on-ones. We shake hands, sign on the dotted line, put a ring on it. The house of pleasure, where we end the day with, oh, we're finished. A big, oh, I'm done. So enjoy it, because whatever this is, for better or worse, Virgo rising signs, this isn't going to be too much of a surprise. Lovely. It's Pisces. It's going to be beautiful, emotional, cathartic release of feelings and emotions. Big stuff. Enjoy your full moon lunar eclipse on the 7th of September. It's happening at 15 degrees. So again, know your own natal chart and planets. You have anything at 15 degrees, especially the North Node, which is currently at 18 degrees. Big stuff. Moving on to the 12th, The sun and your chart ruler Mercury, which is transiting in your first house, all about you, is sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. And so we got Jupiter in a superior sextile. So Jupiter's bringing you, Mercury, in the first house of self, your chart ruler, Jupiter, who is the bestower of life, brings you something quite inspiring, emotional, something to do with security that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy on the 12th. So expect good news on the 12th. The next day on the 13th, Mercury conjuncts the Sun. This is a Cazimi. This is when Mercury is in the heart of the Sun. So the Sun bestows its gifts to your chart ruler Mercury. Wonderful. What's really interesting about this is that the Sun, it is all about ownership, leadership, self-agency, responsibility, being very focused on being seen and respected. This is big. This could be an offer of a job, a dream come true kind of moment. The waiting game is over kind of thing on the 13th. You're sharp as a tack. You know where you're going. You know where you're heading. And the Sun goes, here you go, Mercury. This is what you energetically need. Go for boldly, my dear one. Mercury is exalted and in domicile in Virgo, and your natal first house in a very strong position. Mercury's really just loving being in Virgo, and Mercury is being bestowed with energy, life force, and optimism from the Sun. So this is a big yes day on the 13th. Big stuff, really nice. On the 14th, Venus is sextiling Mars. So the astrology is fascinating for the month with the planets in transits and the aspects that they're making. Venus, the planet of love and values, the planet of relationship, the planet of unity, the planet that is life-giving. She's a benefic planet like Jupiter is benefic. Venus wants to bring Mars a soothing balm, a bit of a helping hand. And we know Mars is in Libra in your natal second house of finances, skills, resources, assets and possessions, your livelihood. So Venus in the 12th of Leo, the 12th house, where Venus is just doing her magic and loving up, being behind closed doors and indulging, doing her own thing, is bringing Mars, her natural counterpart, Mars, a benefit, something of value. So something from the past, something that has been otherwise, for better words, out of reach, now reaches you and improves your work, your assets, something that you value, something that really helps you in a tangible way. Maybe it is a contract, an agreement, a relationship, something legal, for better or worse, comes across your table on the 14th. It reaches you easily because Venus is sextiling Mars. It's an easy, for better words, exchange. That's a sextile. It's an easy connection, easy exchange. Venus can see Mars, and Venus is saying yes to Mars here from the natal 12th house of things that are lost in translation, where it's things like institutions, where things are behind closed doors, something that you harbor and engage with in private now is being brought to Mars. And then Mars goes, wow, thanks, Venus. That really helps me in identifying where I'm heading. I've been struggling to find some sort of balance and harmony. And it comes on the 14th. So really important intel's coming to your way on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of the month. Moving on to the 17th, your chart ruler Mercury is opposing Saturn retrograde. So we know Mercury is exalted and in domicile and opposite. So this is you. This is you. It's in the first house of body, your health, your identity, your personality, your psychology, things that you want to begin. And then you're looking across the way at Saturn in your house of relationships, other, pleasure. And then you're saying, oh, I can see that this is going to be difficult, Saturn, to commit to for the long term, Saturn, to this contract agreement relationship. I know maybe this isn't my ideal, perfect position I want to be in, but I can see that there's something from the past or something very solid here that I can engage with or disengage with. So you can see the potentials on the 17th can be difficult to look at the realities of your experience, whatever you're experiencing, whatever new beginnings you want to start, your trajectory, your appearance. You can see very clearly because it's an opposition. Oppositions, these planets see each other. There's no obscurity here. So you can see the work or the labor or the difficulty coming from other quite clearly. That's improving or part of your story moving forward, whatever it is you want to begin. That's impacting your health, your identity, your body, your sense of self. Interesting day on the 17th. Then the 18th, your chart ruler leaves the natal first house and ingresses into Libra, where Mars has been doing its stuff in the natal second. And Mercury is in Libra, your second house, until October 6th. So a significant shift. So these topics now, the second house, become, for better words, super important. And this is Libra. And this is the second house of your livelihood, your assets, possessions, things of value, things that you value is on review because it's Libra. What's fair? What's just? What's right? What's the contracts? What's the agreements? Who am I partnering up with? Or who am I trying to get away from? What do I need to do to get some balance here? So that will be the focus from September 18 to October 6. Where do I need to get down to brass tacks about my tangibles, my livelihood, things that I value and that I love could be factored into relationships, contracts, and other people. So it's an important transit with your chart ruler Mercury in Libra from the 18th to October 6th. On the 18th, when Mercury, your chart ruler, does ingress into Libra, immediately opposes Neptune retrograde in Aries in your natal 8th house, which we too talked about extensively. So this is you trying to, again, look at Mercury, Neptune retrograde in your natal 8th house. This is other people's resources, death and inheritance. And your chart ruler Mercury is in Libra, fair-minded, intellectual Libra, being very, for better words, objective. So you are objectively looking at the natal 8th house where Neptune is currently retrograde. So you're objectively weighing up the pros and cons, if you will, of other people's resources, financial interests, death and inheritance with a keen eye. So this is like you can clearly see Neptune because it's an opposition. I like oppositions because you can see what you're dealing with head on. You can see it. So you can see the natal 8th house very clearly from the second. So I wonder, astrologically speaking, if the Virgo rising signs are coming to a bit of a checking in point here on the 18th, about being very optimistic and hopeful about a collab, a resource, asset or possession, or putting something to rest on the 18th. So it could be something that you're experiencing here, with Mercury opposed to Neptune retrograde, because Mercury is very intellectual, um, likes to basically get a lot of information. But when it's opposed to Neptune, it's like maybe other people's resources, death and inheritance, those topics and subjects are the eighth house when Neptune's retrograde. I wonder if you're feeling a little bit confused, or maybe not confused and seeing something's a little bit too fantastic and whimsical here for me to engage with. Yeah, interesting day. Mercury is opposed to Neptune, opposed to foggy information, not being certain about other people's finances or resources that impact you. Yeah, interesting astrology. I'll leave it at that. Moving on to the 19th, we now have Venus ingressing into your first house. Wowza! Here comes Venus now. And Venus is in your first house from the 19th to October 13th. We also have Mercury, your chart ruler, trining, which is easily accessing intel and information and energy and optimism from Uranus retrograde and Pluto retrograde. So the 19th is an important day astrologically for us. And for you as a Virgo rising sign, of course, you're part of the zodiac system too. So let's talk about these individually. Let's talk about Venus in your first house. Wherever Venus goes, Venus just brings energy to that zodiac sign. So Venus is bringing energy to Virgo. So what is Venus? She's relationships, she's values, she's unity and cohesion. She brings things together. She loves to just hook up. Oh, just everything's loving and beautiful, man. It's Venus. Just loves connection, loves to be social, just enjoys the pleasures of life. And here she comes on the 19th, just making it oh so important for the Virgo rising signs to remember. Life is here to be enjoyed. Life is pleasurable. You're allowed to live your bliss kind of transit, Virgo rising sign, when Venus gets into your first house from the 19th to October 13th. So it's really nice. Venus is the ruler of Libra, your natal second house, where your chart ruler Mercury is. So we've got some mutual reception going on here. Mercury is in Venus' sign of rulership. Venus is in Mercury's sign of rulership. So this is really nice. So Venus is bringing you value, love, unity, can be to do with significant contracts and relationships that support you with your livelihood, your resources, assets, possessions, your skills. This is beautiful stuff. This is beautiful astrology. Venus traditionally is in fall in Virgo. I don't care because Mercury is in Venus' sign of rulership. Mutual reception. Mercury is helping Venus out. So I think this is a good transit ultimately for the Virgo rising signs. What do you love? What do you want to connect with? What gives you pleasure and joy in your natal first house of you, your identity, new beginnings, new relationships, your body, your health? What do you love about it? What do you value about it? Venus goes, yeah, let's have some fun, Virgo rising signs. Let's enjoy our life, hey? It's that kind of transit from the 19th to October 13th. Yay. And then she moves into the natal second house of Libra, her sign of rulership. If you can get the astrological picture, next 2-3 months for you as Virgo rising sign, the astrology is pretty stellar for things to start really moving in a very optimistic, positive way. Really nice stuff. Okay, so now let's talk about. Oh, I keep hitting the microphone. Sorry, apologies if you can hear it. Mercury, your chart ruler on the 19th, is trining Uranus retrograde and Pluto retrograde, 10th house and 6th house, second house. The 10th house, 6th house, and 2nd house in our charts, natal charts, excuse me. These houses are ultimately our support houses, things that we know are really supportive of us. So what's going on here on the 19th is Mercury is agreeing and connecting and accessing information, optimism, and inspiration from your career, your public name, your identity, achievements and ambitions, work, your daily habits and routines, services. Things are really starting to connect quite easily. So this is really nice astrology for committing to something long term that really is going to transform the self or your name, your identity, you in some significant capacity. I like this as astrology for I'm going to sign on the dotted line. I'm going to agree to that contract. I'm starting that business, or I'm going to take on that boss role that I've been offered. I'm going to take the reins here. I'm going to take charge of my life. I'm going to put in an application for a university or a school, or I'm going to start a help and health program for kids. It's something big like that on the 19th. Is what I'm getting astrologically, because Mercury in Libra is all about Mercury wants to bring Libra relationships, harmony, opportunity to balance things out that are just fair, right. So great for advocating and being an ambassador for agency over your own life or others. Really, it's big astrology, really big astrology for the Virgo rising signs. So the 19th will be a standout day to take note of. Okay, moving on to the 20th. Uranus squares Venus and the Sun opposes Saturn. Interesting. Okay. And Uranus is in a superior square to Venus. So again, this is like your public name, identity, ambition, something of an authority aspect, your career, your professional industry. It's questioning Venus, which is, I think something's like you're questioning the validity of who's the authority here, me or someone else. It's that kind of thing, is what I'm getting. So maybe there is something Uranian happening, something disrupting coming from outside of you. You're being challenged, for better words. It's like Uranus is challenging Venus in Virgo to get going or make a decision. So it's that kind of day on the 20th. So easy does it. You don't crumble under pressure. You don't need to. And just keep in that back pocket that, Mercury is in Venus, a sign of rulership, Libra. It's trining that 10th house. So I'm not too concerned about this. And the Sun is in your first house on the 20th, saying no to Saturn, opposing against Saturn retrograde. Again, we talked extensively about the 7th house. So the Sun is authority, individuality, sovereignty, leadership. So this is you feeling very strong and very sure of yourself. Now, what you're ready to begin, your line of sight's very clear, and you can see the responsibility or the weight of a relationship, a collab, any partnership of any nature that is obvious on the 20th. Are you in or are you out? Does this collab support you, or does it feel nerve-wracking that you can't end this or you're unsure? Yeah, typical day on the 20th. Can't sugarcoat it. Oh, this is no big deal. We're only having a new moon partial solar eclipse in your sign in your first house on the 21st. No big deal at all. Cheeky, cheeky, cheeky. You Virgo risings, you have such a good sense of humor. You're just going, oh, you silly girl, but you are funny. Okay. The 21st of the month is the second eclipse. And this is a new beginning because that's what new moons are. They're new beginnings. They're very quiet and they're private. They're not a full moon where you see, express, and the moment of, oh, I now see, I once was blind, but now I see moment with a full moon lunar eclipse or a full moon. It's not like that. It means our internal processes that are going on behind closed doors that we keep close to our chest. But on the 21st, it's a worthy note that this is a partial solar eclipse in Virgo, and solar eclipses pack a punch. So whatever the new beginning is, that's kept, for better words, under wraps, is a potent one at that, and it pertains to something solar that presents a new path and a new beginning, unlike the lunar eclipse, which is the closing down of a story over 6 months' time. Okay. Sorry for the noise. I keep hitting that bloody microphone. Okay. So let's talk about what the significance is of a eclipse in your first house. Now, eclipses, especially solar ones, they pertain to things such as leadership, authority, father themes, father topics and subjects. So this could be you being a father being of significance to you. Something about the topic of nurturing, like a father is someone who's a nurturer, a way shower. A father instructs, mentors, and solar themes such as individuality and authority, sovereign independence. So there's something just for you, very personal to the Virgo rising signs occurring on the 21st of September moving forward that is going to flourish and develop over time, usually within 6 months. Usually. So this is not something that maybe Virgo rising signs want to declare to the world just now, because I think maybe Virgo rising signs are coming to terms to or peace or processing the new reality that, hey, I'm shifting and changing my name, my identity, my body, my health, my sense of self. New beginnings are happening, and I'm breathing here kind of thing happening on the 21st of September moving forward for 6 months. So I wish Virgo rising signs the best with this new beginning, because it is a potent one, because it's solar and it's a solar new moon, and very, very important and significant, poignant part of our journeys when we have eclipses, especially in our own signs. So your sign being Virgo. So astrologically speaking, I can give you human advice apart from astrology advice. It's okay, Virgo rising signs, to live your bliss. Virgo's in the natal first house. Venus is in your natal first house. It's okay to love, value you and what's important to you. It's okay to unite with others. It's okay to share. It's okay to improve you. And that could be in any facet of your life, because Venus is about improving our experience by upping the ante regarding our values. So this can be quite the potent new moon solar eclipse on the 1st of September, with Venus also in your sign in Virgo. And Mercury is in Venus' sign of rulership in Libra, in the second house of valuables, resources, skills, assets and possessions and money. Yeah, so something really big can really start to take shape and form over the next 6 months and develop into something that you love, that you really, really, really love. There's a lot of conviction here developing. But in the heart, it's really felt in the heart chakra. I love this on the 21st. Enjoy your new moon solar eclipse in the first house. Maybe, no pressure. Virgo rising signs, do you want to share what's going on with the public? Put comments in the comment section below about your thoughts or your actual experiences about these eclipses post eclipse season in the October astrology horoscope video for you. Exciting stuff. Okay, moving on to the 22nd. Yay, equinox season. The sun is halfway through the zodiac. Started in Aries and now it's reached a Libra. So the sun is at its halfway point and we bring in equinox season. So the next 3 months, the sun continues through Scorpio, Sagittarius, then gets into Capricorn, and then we are in solstice time. So for the next 3 months, we're all hunkering down. We're gathering our harvest. We're gathering our cornucopias, and we're seeing what goods are there to bank on, that support us, that have resources to get us through. That's the equinox. And the sun in Libra is all about weighing up what's fair, just, and right, what's in balance, what's not, what relationships and connections support us, or maybe don't. This is where we get down to brass tacks when the sun is in Libra, bringing in equinox season for the next 3 months. We're weighing it all out here. We're all in the same box together, but we all need to be feeling safe and secure. And that's what the sun is trying to do. So on the 22nd, the sun ingressing into Libra, where it's in fall, in your natal second house until the 22nd of October. So for 4 weeks, the sun is going, let's look at the finances. What do you value? What do you love? What's in balance? What relationships are influencing our livelihood or Virgo rising signs livelihood and resources? What's going on here? The sun lights it up and the sun energizes that natal second house where your chart ruler Mercury is. And what I really like about the astrology here is Venus is in Virgo in your natal first house, the ruler of the natal second house, Libra, where the sun is. Even though the sun is in fall, Mercury is here and Venus is sign of rulership too. Venus is in Mercury's sign of rulership. Mutual reception. So I'm not too concerned about the sun having a more than often difficult time when it's transiting in Libra for 4 weeks because of this mutual reception going on with Mercury and Venus. I like it, like it, like it, like it. So for 4 weeks, you're taking control, ownership, agency over your tangibles and what you love and value. You've got a keen eye for what's just, right, and fair with this transit. So it's going to be pretty. So this is like looking at the contracts and agreements in your life, looking at things with a pretty heavy hitting capacity regarding long-term commitments kind of transit with the sun here for 4 weeks because your chart ruler Mercury is also here as well in Libra, co-present. So yeah, this can be a big transit as well for 4 weeks with the sun's saying, where do you want to take ownership, agency and control over this natal second house of Libra? You need to be able to have an objective discerning eye with this transit. Interesting. We also have on the 22nd Mars ingress into Scorpio, where Mars is very strong in domicile in Scorpio. Really nice transit for all of us. When Mars is happy, when Mars is grumpy and got the shits, Mars can be a pain in the butt. But when Mars is content and going, oh, thank the goddess, I'm at home in my own zodiac sign, then we all get a bit of a break from aggression and conflict and war and rah, because Mars is happy. He's in Scorpio now. His second sign of rulership, his other sign is Aries, which is your natal eighth house, where Neptune's currently retrograding. That natal eighth house of other people's resources that support you or resources that you control, death and inheritance. Mars also is the ruler of that natal eighth house of Aries. So we've got Mars now happy in the water fixed yin sign of Scorpio, where Mars gets to drink in the water triplicity element of Scorpio, which is deep, important, sensual, secretive, occultive, intuitive experiences. Yummy. Mars in Scorpio. And where is this transit happening for the Virgo rising signs? It's your third house. So Mars has been through it in Libra. You know, your natal second house. It's just trying to get things right. It's hard. Well, I'm not sure. What do we do? What are we going? And then Mars gets into the natal third house, and Mars says, "Okay, Virgo rising signs, let's seek out people, places, and faces around us. Let's get amongst it. Where can we get emotional fulfillment? Do we need to go back to school, become a teacher? Do we need to do a course? Do we need a car? Do we need new technology? Do we need to travel? Do we need to reconnect with our siblings and extended family members? Do we need to just chill with our neighbors, have a barbecue? Or do we need to start marketing and spreading ourselves out into community? Maybe pitch our ideas to the public. Do we need to get involved with the public? Maybe I need to lend a helping hand. It's going to be good because I can enjoy it. Mars is in Scorpio. Maybe I can get into charity work. Maybe I can roll up my sleeves and maybe learn to, I don't know, be a swimming coach. Maybe get into anything. Get into the community. Get out there. It's what Mars is saying. Get out. Virgo rising signs that enjoy your backyard kind of transit. There's plenty to learn, plenty to explore. There's plenty of communication and people to interact with. The third house. And it can really fill your cup. Scorpio. With emotional intensity that just feels right. Mars in Scorpio. Really nice transit from the 22nd of September to November 3rd. Go get him, Tiger. Get out and amongst it. Scorpio, great for studying anything divinatory, the occult, research, ancestry, traveling to museums, cemeteries. Really nice for that as well. Quite nice. Really nice transit for all of us. Mars in Scorpio. But in your third house, get out there and explore, investigate, research, become a community archaeologist. Really good astrology. Okay, moving on between the 23rd and 25th, we have Mars squaring Pluto retrograde. We have Pluto retrograde trining the Sun opposing Neptune retrograde, and the Sun is trining Uranus retrograde. What a day. Squares and oppositions. Okay. Well, can't all be having our own way all of the time, can we? Apparently not. And it becomes very obvious on the 23rd to the 25th of the month. Yeah, this can be pretty sobering information or intel coming our way. And with that, we get to sit back and process what we are hearing, observing, or experiencing that can be quite challenging or even confronting. So, between the 23rd and 25th, with these oppositions and squares, this is like the planets are trying, with these aspects, the planets are trying to uh, move the goalposts, move the chess pieces on the chessboard. Suddenly, that could feel extremely frustrating. That's the kind of astrology for the 23rd to the 25th of September. Oh, you thought that was going to happen? No, actually, that's not happening. Oh, this is your plan. Yep, I've got all my ducks in a row. Guess what? Little Susie has broken her leg at school. You're not going to that meeting. That was make or break for your career to go to the next level. It's that kind of astrology. Irritating squares and oppositions, challenges, hard nose, big conflict. It's all up for debate. It's all on from the 23rd to the 25th. So, astrologically speaking, with these squares and oppositions, how do I humanly give astrology enthusiasts tools to work with days like this? Anything that is acute other than a crisis or emergency, let's be effing realistic. Unless someone's leg is falling off or there is an extreme moment of you or someone is in very, very, very big danger, squares and oppositions are just that. They're just moments of tension. So, should you experience intel, communication, or snafus, pushbacks, where everyone's all of a sudden not playing nice in the sandbox, you don't have to react or take any acute action at all. You can step back and breathe, think, and just process what you are observing, listening to, or experiencing that can be challenging. You do not have to respond. You can just process and digest with squares and oppositions on days like the 23rd to the 25th. I mean, if you have to be a first responder in a fucking crisis, then fucking act. That's the end of it. Other than that, if you're being challenged, it just feels like there's pushback, there's just everyone's not playing nice, that's okay. That doesn't mean you have to be reactionary. You can be proactive by not being reactionary and just listen, observe, and breathe. It's those kind of days. Good luck with that. And guess what? Everyone here on Terra Firma is having the same aspects. So these 2 days, I don't think many people are going to be completely happy.